That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, we started.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My country too.
All right. This meeting, the Land Use Board meeting, February 17th, 2026, was advertised in the Hamilton Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, and right here in the municipal building on the board. I would ask the secretary to add that to her minutes. And then, Mr. Tyner, you want to sign in, you want to swear in Mr. Dennis?
I sure would. Be honored to. Mr. Dennis, you want to raise your right hand, sir?
Yes.
You know, you've done this a few times, I think. I state your name, sir. I
I, Edward D. Dennis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and the state,
county, and city
and the city,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and unjustly
perform all the duties of the office of
perform all the duties of office of member of the Land Use Board.
Member of the Land Use Board, alternate number one, is that correct? Okay. Very good. Let's sign that. I'll pass it back to you, sir.
This chair's broke. For the record.
Donna, roll call, please.
Okay. Mayor Chimpetti, Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mr. Peterson,
Here.
Mr. Molyneux,
Thank you.
Mrs. Torres,
Here?
Mr. Frick,
Here.
Mr. Timbers,
Here.
Mr. Garth,
Here.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Here.
and Mrs. Keener. No. Okay.
Okay, can I have an approval on a motion for the minutes of January 20th?
So moved. I'll second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, so be it. New business, Ryan, you want to give us a short little,
Sure. So the city, in reviewing its land use ordinance and trying to spur economic development, came across a restriction in the city's current land use ordinance, which requires a minimum spacing of 1,000 feet between fast food restaurants. The city, at this point, has interest in removing that restriction as a conditional use requirement. In order to do so, they need to refer that matter to the planning board for consideration and for recommendation of whether that would be consistent with the city's master plan. So I handed out this memo that we drafted that pulls a couple of sections from the city's master plan, the current master plan, just to provide some examples of what the intentions of the master plan are. I mean, generally it's to support economic development in town, to support smart growth, and to provide for adequate transportation, light, air, open space, all the goals of the municipal land use. So the city believes that this requirement does not support the objectives of the master plan, and we sort of refer this matter here for you guys to consider whether it is consistent. So the current ordinance restriction does not support any of the objectives that we listed, and we determined that removing the restriction would not conflict with any of the city's current master plan objectives. We believe this rule is kind of a dated tool that used to be fairly common. I think in the 80s, fast food development patterns, people weren't quite really sure how things were going to go. There was a lot less variety, there was a lot less understanding of how to engineer sites, a lot less site controls. So we don't believe that this requirement is necessary anymore. So our recommendation to the board is that we believe that making this change to the land use ordinance would be consistent with the city's master plan. But it's ultimately up to you guys to vote on whether you believe that is the case.
So there'll be no restriction whatsoever now.
Well, so it's only in the highway commercial does this requirement exist. There is a 1,000-foot separation distance between fast food restaurants. The city's proposing to just remove that restriction entirely. A real-world impact, there's only one, there's probably more than one restaurant or establishment that could be considered fast food. I mean, you could make an argument that Dunkin' Donuts would be a fast food restaurant. Obviously, like Domino's, something, you know, but realistically, the vacant parcel that's next to McDonald's, I think, is the one that's probably comes to everyone's mind most immediately. But it really just removes a cloud. The city's had discussions with numerous developers, both about that parcel and others, and this has come up as a concern or as a potential conflict. The pad site that's over by Wawa, excuse me, there's a redevelopment plan for that site. And that one of the uses permitted includes fast food, so like that's within 1,000 feet of Dunkin' Donuts. So there's other properties that this requirement sort of clouds. So we just think it would be easier to work with developers, and they would have a much higher level of comfort if that was not in there, and they just had to meet all of the other, there's still a whole bunch of other conditional
Just to be
use standards.
consistent with everything else that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And there are still conditional use standards that apply just to fast food restaurants. There's still a minimum square footage, there's still parking requirements and other requirements that apply only to fast food restaurants. So it would just be striking that requirement from the conditional use standards. All the other conditional use standards would still apply. And if they didn't meet those conditional use standards, then they would have to go for a use variance. So.
Okay. Ed, you got something?
Yeah, what about the area of, say, Philadelphia Avenue from the White Horse Pike to Deer Street or to along there?
So this is only in the city's highway commercial zone, which extends no more than a couple hundred feet from the White Horse Pike in any direction. Actually, goes to Atlantic Avenue is the farthest.
So in other words, let's say a restaurant wants to go in Philadelphia Avenue to corner Arago, wants to buy one of those buildings and convert it.
So that is in the retail commercial district.
So they'd have to get variance. Why wouldn't you include them in that highway commercial?
So that would be a larger change to the city's ordinance. We're not proposing to change where the boundaries are or anything like that. As part of this, we're just trying to remove the conditional use standard.
What about from White Horse Pike to Atlantic Avenue?
So a good portion of that is actually in the city's highway commercial zone now. There's sections where the highway commercial zone extends all the way to Atlantic, but it's sort of inconsistent up and down the Route 30 corridor. So I don't have the zoning map in front of me, but there's sections where it goes all the way to Atlantic, and there's other sections where it's only like half the block because there's some residential areas, and other sections where it's not highway commercial.
The parcel behind Wawa?
So the parcel behind Wawa is in the highway commercial zone. Highway commercial extends, excuse me, down Philadelphia up to the railroad tracks there. So
What about between the Teamsters and Dunkin' Donuts, that area?
that's in the highway commercial zone.
So that's all included. The
Yes.
other side where Wawa is included?
Yes. Well, technically that side is subject to a redevelopment plan as part of the Wawa project. But otherwise, it would be in the highway commercial zone.
So it's an overlap?
Yeah, well, it's
The redevelopment plan overlaps?
right, the redevelopment zone sort of overlaid on top of the highway commercial zone.
So if Burger King wants to come in next door, there's no concern, it's 1,000 feet from, say, Dunkin' Donuts that they consider to be fast food. It would be permitted after we remove this.
Correct, because right now it's less than 1,000 feet from Dunkin' Donuts and potentially other things that could be considered fast food.
Sure.
So,
What makes a place fast food?
well, that's, it's tough to define now because there's a wide gamut. I think in the mid-'80s, fast food was a little more clearly defined. You know, there were far less chains.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, McDonald's, Burger King, and a few others. So I think fast food has a pretty wide variety at this point.
Go to Wawa every day for lunch, and that's fast.
Yeah, exactly, right, is Wawa fast food. Right,
Like
so it's,
like a Gennaro's type building, they're not considered a fast food?
I don't believe so, no.
Just curious.
So,
So Ryan, if we did nothing, a developer could ask for a variance
correct,
for
but
this,
a
right?
developer would have to come in and request a use variance, which, as you know, is always a much higher lift for a developer. There's a significant investment of resources up front. So if someone's going to buy the property and start to go down that path, no one wants to spend $10,000 to figure out if they can build a restaurant there. They want to buy the property and build a restaurant there because they know they meet all the conditions.
So it could actually scare them away by us leaving it in there.
Yeah,
And we want
absolutely.
growth.
We've had numerous conversations with other developers who have said that exactly. Like, I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to deal with that. It's not worth it. So,
Ryan,
yes.
1,000 feet is
at least 100 feet longer than a football field. At some point, we gotta look at this and say, that this is not reasonable. This is not
Three
reasonable.
city blocks, like you said, right?
Say it again?
It's 3 city blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you take 1,000 foot from the center of the McDonald's, you're talking in Van Avenue.
Yes,
And then you're talking almost Halo Street,
yes.
That is-
real close to Halo Street.
Yeah, right, it would extend all the way into Galloway.
Well, whatever this ordinance was that got put in there, it wasn't put in there for planning purposes, it was put in there for political purposes. Or not,
Potentially.
not political, but, you know,
Personal gain.
yeah.
Right. Purposes that are not advancing
Mhm.
goals of the master plan or municipal land use law, and no longer applicable, so.
Is there any instance where you can see that there could be a conflict in that somebody comes in and if there's an area along the pike or something, or a restaurant that comes in that wouldn't meet the criteria of a fast food restaurant or something?
So I think the bigger restriction that development is going to have in like tight parcels next to McDonald's, say, is highway access requirements from New Jersey Department of Transportation. So they're not going to let you have a whole series of driveways all 20 feet apart. So I think that, you know, working through that process, they may require like a shared driveway with McDonald's or a shared driveway with the strip mall or something like that. But I don't see a way that this would create a conflict that another business type would not.
But in Egg Harbor, I mean, along the pike, the biggest distance
Mhm.
that you normally have is 150 feet.
Right.
Traffic
They have blocks.
can be moved to either the terrace or the main street. I mean, even in Efseekin, where they're building all that at the old ball fields, all that traffic really exits back on New Jersey Avenue and then goes to either the U-turn or to the other end. So, I mean, it's a little bit of an inconvenience for the people exiting, but it's not an impossibility.
Sure, yeah, there's definitely alternate ways to approach it. Yeah, and like you said, Egg Harbor City's pattern is very unique. Very few lots are wider than 150 feet. So most are very narrow, and you have some depth to work with and access to multiple frontages.
And even the one next to McDonald's, when that was approved, that's why that area by McDonald's, the terrace was cut, where the curb cut was put to bring the traffic to St. Louis.
Right.
I mean, it was always intended that way.
So they have that blocked off now,
Yeah.
but
But that's what the intent was.
so if
Set
a
up for
restaurant wanted to
speed
locate there, they would be able to use that driveway
That was the original
to
approval.
get back
Jack.
out onto St. Louis Avenue.
Yes, they would use that common driveway. If you also remember, well, no, you wouldn't remember. When the red light was put in at St. Louis Avenue, the city passed an ordinance. Actually, the driveway that exits McDonald's was supposed to have been eliminated. That exit was, at the red light there are no left-hand turns permitted in all of our ordinances. They're supposed to close that up, just like they did in Hamilton. Their McDonald's closed off their exit onto the pike. They now go rack around and come out to the red light. And that's what was supposed to happen there, Jack. All traffic was to be
I remember,
circulated
yeah.
back around.
So Ryan, that, I'm maybe getting a little too far ahead here in anticipation that they might want to do something on that property there, but would the state, is there enough highway frontage there that the state would allow a driveway into that lot there in between Ingalingos and McDonald's?
Yeah, so I would think at minimum, they would allow an access drive to come into the site, and then they would, I'm sure, encourage exiting the site to go either through the McDonald's property or to come out to neighboring Ingalingos.
Or they can go the other way and come out at the entrance to Incolingo's.
Right, that's what I said,
Yeah.
either the
And
McDonald's way through that common
McDonald's doesn't have
driveway.
anything to say about that, they can't hold that up.
I mean, I don't think they would have the ability to fully block it, especially if their original site plan included the potential for
There was a
shared
curb cut
access
put in
drive.
so that was what would, and remember, the owners of the property at that time, when they went to get the approval, owned both properties, and they agreed to that. Now, it goes back to the 80s, but I mean, that was what was agreed to.
Well, the rumor on the street is that there's a new buyer, a new owner of Ingalingos that owns both of those properties, the one that's developed and the one that's not developed, and obviously he wants to do something there.
I hope he does.
So Yeah, I don't know what the future plans are, but I know that they took a portion of that and were able to add some parking. I don't know if he's trying to develop the rest or move the rest or what, but it would be better than a vacant lot, so. That's the idea.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? So tonight, you're looking for a motion to send it back to council, is that what you're?
It would be a resolution recommending or finding that removing this requirement from the city's land use ordinance would conform with the city's master plan.
I'll offer that motion.
I'll second it.
Second? Okay,
Barry has to.
Okay.
roll call, Don?
And your second, John?
No, Barry has second.
Jack,
First,
made the
Gary
motion and Gary seconded.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Frick?
Yes?
Mr. Timbers?
Can I vote on this since this is affects
Yes, you
zoning?
may.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mr. Dennis?
Yes.
And Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Ryan, what document does this appear in? Is this in the city code?
Yeah, it's in the
Manual?
city's land use ordinance, section 170, 58, note 6, under A2A. So that line, minimum distance between fast food restaurants, 1,000 feet, will just be deleted from the ordinance. That would be the intent.
Okay, any old business? Council report?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, all right. Comments from the public?
I have a question.
Question and comments from the board?
I hate to reference a reliable news source as Facebook, but there's been a lot of Facebook posts about the Acme being an approved grow facility.
So the city just appointed a new redeveloper to that parcel. That redeveloper has expressed interest in cannabis cultivation, I believe. But they have not approached the city with any formal documentation on what their proposed use will be. I actually just spoke with their attorney today to sort of walk him through the process again. So we're going to provide them with the current redevelopment plan. They're going to draft the revisions that they're requesting and present that to city council for consideration. Whatever they do, whatever the city authorizes, will have to come here for a site plan at some point. So,
I mean, hopefully there's some progress in getting something in that building.
yeah, that's the idea. I mean, it's been hard to attract developers there, so if somebody's got a plan and shows up with money.
It's not the same owner that has it right now?
No, it is not.
Okay, he sold the building, or he's going to sell it to this guy?
So Jim McCallion, I believe, is the current owner. I believe he's under contract with another group. I don't remember what the group was called. I've been dealing with them primarily. So,
You know what's strange about this, Ryan, is that parcel there with the existing paving and I won't say it's move in, but there's no visits to the plant, to the land or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're not finding that anywhere in Atlantic County.
yeah.
So I can't believe that somebody can't find it.
Why isn't it marketed correctly then? Just like you said, you could expand that building because the whole thing is impervious already. You just gotta reduce it by, what, 1 square foot to make it?
So the rules have changed a lot lately. They're kind of trying to get rid of that loophole. So now even the reconstruction, as of January 20th, even the reconstruction of a 1/4 acre of asphalt requires you to deal with stormwater quality and stuff now. So I don't know how we're gonna rebuild roads or do anything, but we'll figure that out, I guess. But yeah, to answer your question, part of the complication is that the parcel is privately owned. So if the city owned it, we could put it out an RFP and try to attract developers and things like that, kind of like what we did with the tower site, where we seem to be making a lot of progress. But because it's privately owned, same thing with the Better Built Door site across the street. If somebody wants to sit on it for 20 years and pay the taxes, that's their prerogative, unfortunately. So, we've tried to work with, it's changed hands numerous times, we've tried to work with numerous property owners. When it's gone up for sale, we've tried to, increase that level of awareness and let people know that it's out there and available. But I mean, it's been 20 years and now we haven't gotten rid of it.
And you look at the South Lake Harbor, but this old Peter Lumber, the massive building they were able to put there because it went over existing
Sure.
concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always been a big advantage.
I don't know what the stormwater runoff design would be for a building of that size, but they put it up and didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, no, it's a huge advantage having all that impervious cover there still, even with the change requirements, but, yeah, we still haven't had any takers. And I mean, the price of that building has dropped and dropped and dropped, so. I don't know where it's at now, but at one point it was, about the price of a single-family home. It's,
So it's never been completed,
what's that?
the construction of the Acme building.
Correct. Yeah, a gentleman that had it, who was trying to do a used auto dealer mall, was kind of working on it himself as he came into funds. Did some roof work, did some facade work, and then ran out of money. So that's kind of how it's sat since then.
So where does that leave the city with any ability to enforce anything? Because you go on the Arago Street side, and the soffits are still open, and there's,
All of those are
water
still,
getting in, I mean,
all
and
of
that
those
whole
are still
side is
subject to
not
code
good.
enforcement. So that's a conversation with the department, but.
Because whoever owns the parcel is using that property.
Yes, I believe they have been cited for storage of vehicles and other things, at least once. Because at one point, another group came in and inquired about using it for, there's a company that works with like the electric company when there's major
Yeah, they wanted
storm that
to-
travels the country. Right, so they wanted to use it for like indoor maintenance, and indoor storage, and then they would store the vehicles outside. And we had some discussion with them, but they kind of backed out of it. But around those discussions, a bunch of equipment showed up anyway. So we conveyed to the owner at the time that none of that was permitted. It all had to be moved. I don't think they met the timeframes that were provided. I think they were cited at some point. But,
At least it keeps it neat and clean, because trust me, you got properties on Phillips on 30 that are horrible.
it could be worse, that's for sure. But yeah, I do believe they were cited at one.
Well, the same rules would apply, that nobody could open up anything without the building being completely done.
Yeah, correct. And again, anyone who advances development there has to come back to land use board. And I think that the prior owner like ripped up a bunch of sidewalks and disturbed the site in various ways. All of that would need to be restored. And all of those would be conditions of any approvals that they sought from this.
So as far as we're concerned, the existing site plan was for these rental offices for the used car. Nothing has changed since that.
Right, there's been no concrete proposals back to the city at this point. There's been no action by the board. So that's still the approved use and site plan at this point. But that's not what's being pursued at this time, so does not appear at least.
Ed? you got something?
A different subject, and I think everybody has seen it. If you go past the Incolindos, every couple months, the fence falls down. It's supposed to be a permanent fence. It's not. All
That's
he's
being
done-
addressed.
Pardon me?
That's being addressed by the city administrator. Tangentially
Can't,
aware.
if it's not, can he be brought back to the planning board? Because that was supposed to be a permanent fence, and all he did was take 4-inch blocks and screw the fence into the blocks, and it falls over. It's a safety hazard.
I agree.
The block is glued to the
Yeah.
foundation blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't last.
With no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I feel bad for them because they and that's an expensive fence, you
Yes.
know? And it wasn't 2 days, somebody had backed into it.
Jack, after the first time, I don't, the guy went in, he tried a cheap way to do it, fix it right and be done with
I
it.
don't know how you could fix it right.
Well,
Put regular fence and attach it to the asphalt.
And I'd be scared to
They're
death
going in the next
to,
day too, just like
Drill a
that.
regular fence and instead of putting up a temporary.
so I believe that an alternate fence material and type is being considered, something that would be easy to repair.
nothing that you put in that existing location is gonna work until you stop the cars from being able to back into it.
Well, I think he's trying to encourage the owner to install parking bumpers too.
I mean,
There's parking bumpers there.
Work.
When you get a guy with a pickup truck
Yeah.
who's got 10 feet from the back wheels, that it needs to be angle parking.
Okay. That's possible. You'd have to change the whole
You
site.
just put chain link fence up.
Well, the
and then
parking is there,
mark it
that's
out.
why I was asking about if it's the same owner and that owns the McDonald's lot and that lot, when it comes time to do something with that, that would be something to
Just
address,
put curbing in, it'll
to
solve the
straighten that
problem.
out.
I think they added some on the one side on like the.
Then you can't drive over it and you don't have your problem.
But that didn't,
Like I said, I don't care what kind of fence you build, like, you're gonna block wall, somebody's gonna knock it down. People are just, don't pay
yeah,
attention.
I'm not deeply involved with that, I just know that he's been meeting with the property owner, they're considering an alternate fence materials.
You know, like I said, the only thing you do is put a guardrail in front of the fence.
That would be the most sensible.
Yep.
Because then you can bang into it all day long, you're
Yep,
not gonna
let
tear
them
it
tear
down.
up their pickup.
But anything else other than guardrail in front of a fence?
It's way too narrow
Isn't
there,
gonna
that's the
work.
problem. Like you said, you have a pickup
Yeah.
truck in there, and you're gonna pull when you back out. It is just, well, we're
Yeah.
going back 2 years ago when they
It's-
approved anything.
It's a small lot, and as far as I know, Don, from what I recall, we don't have like a site plan on file in the city's records, correct? We weren't able to locate anything?
What, for the Incolingo's property?
Anything that includes the fence,
Yeah, that's what we were having trouble finding.
so.
Well, angled parking would definitely help that.
It would, but you'd have to reconfigure all the drives, or the stall depths are different, the drive aisle widths are different. The parking circulation is different, because when you have angle parking, it's only one-way drive aisles. So that would be like a major reconfiguration of the site plan.
And it's mandatory that they have the fence?
We can't find an approved site plan that shows the fence, but it's kind of always been there. So apparently the owner wants to retain.
There was a fence from the other school that was there that they.
Right, I remember that was
That
fenced
was there, and
in.
they cut that down and then they left some of the foundation there, and they just tried to,
Try to mimic it in the same location, yeah. Well, yeah, I would say if you want to inquire on the specifics, reach out to the city administrator, because he's dealing with that with the property owner.
I just worry that if it's mandatory that they put a new fence, and they've already spent all that money in that fence, and I've seen it go down 2 or 3 times already, that they decide maybe they need to move the market elsewhere, then where are we gonna shop? We don't have very many places, so I mean, you have to think about that too.
Sure, understood.
Ryan, a few months back, we did have somebody come in for an application for cannabis on Atlantic Avenue. I think we approved it. Did they drop that?
No, I actually got their compliance site plan yesterday that showed a trash
Is that that
enclosure
old building?
location that was like way too close to the
Yeah.
wetlands.
Yes, the
So,
Oldenburg building.
yeah, the city, or we, in our discussions, one of the conditions was that they provide a trash enclosure. So they sent a revised plan with a proposed trash enclosure yesterday and then an updated one today. So I still have to review it against the whole resolution. But they do appear to be moving forward.
Okay.
How about the grow in the industrial park?
That one is still stalled. Oh, there's 2.
Right on Moss Mill Road.
One is, so that one is stalled. From what I understand, that project is up for sale. We met with a prospective purchaser, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months ago, who was interested in it at the time. I haven't heard anything about that particular individual since, but I do get occasional inquiries from people who appear to be considering purchasing.
Is this the one on Moss Mill,
Yes,
the doctor group?
yes, Dr. John Gould. So he still owns that, but he found another facility in Buda that was a building that was already constructed and started his operation there. So
Is Truckee growing yet?
that is a matter of contention depending who you talk to. So I believe the city is investigating whether he's growing because he does not have all the permission to begin growing yet, we don't believe. So I'm sure that's shocking.
Would that be
Just the name.
Would that be enforced by the state?
Yeah, potentially. So we have no official word that he's growing, but we've gotten some indications that that operation has already started. So I believe the city is looking into that.
So were the note 3 buildings were taken down last week?
Yes.
2 on Cincinnati Avenue and the Old Egg Harbor Tavern?
Yeah, the city started to pursue demolition of numerous buildings, and the owner of them asked for the city to stop those proceedings and said that they would do it themselves, and they have been proceeding with that since.
Jump in.
Anybody else?
Oh, yeah, I got a question. Has there already been any more movement on St. Nicholas? Since he met here and gave, everything they were gonna do with the 104 unit?
I can tell you from a realtor's point of view, the property's been under contract for 2 years. It's just put back on as active last week for sale.
Yeah. I've had a
So I
couple
heard
phone calls in the
he
last
finally just decided to walk away.
week. I've been in communication with the gentleman that's been here a few times, whose name is escaping me at the moment, but as far as I know, he's still pursuing a project in the city. He's been having issues with the diocese about extending the contract and/or what the price point is, I guess. So I don't know that he's fully severed ties, but I do believe that the contract was canceled.
Yeah, it is active on the market for sale right now.
Yeah.
What's it worth, George? What are they asking for it?
I think they're asking $475, something like that. It's all city block. I thought the highest and best use is tear it down and put 8 high-end homes there. It would be perfect for the neighborhood. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, no one would have a problem with that, except the guy who has to pay for it. 'Cause to
Yeah,
take
the
building down would
the
cost
builders say they
$45,000.
can't put
Oh,
enough
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there's a lot of
was.
asbestos and.
They need the whole
Years
block, they
ago.
need the church and all, they need to take the whole block down.
There's asbestos, there's lead paint, there's lots of issues, so, we'll see.
But that did come up here once before.
It did, there was a gentleman who was pursuing a project there for a lengthy period of time. He finally settled in on,
Some type of assisted living, wasn't it?
yeah, like an
Something
assisted
came up.
living type facility, which would have been a conditionally permitted use in that zone, because it's a residential zone. I mean, we've had numerous people approach the city with 50-unit condos and all kinds of stuff. And we kind of tell everybody, like, look, we'd be thrilled if you build 8 houses there, but you're not gonna make money doing it. So if you came up with a reasonable proposal, we'd love to hear it. But, you know, there's a lot of space between 8 houses and 50 condos, so.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn.
Aye.
I-
Very good.